Before Black Panther's release, it was said this movie was going to do amazing, that it was predicted to be the best Marvel film at the box office of the year, yet when cast members said no white people should show up at the theaters, people took that seriously and it missed predictions, and now the second weekend is looking terrible for Marvel because this film has dropped 79% at the box office. I have a few things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month, or support the channel via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So, I wanted to start off with this Variety article. It says, box office Black Panther Wakanda Forever endures on top in the second week. And of course it is. It doesn't really have a lot of competition. That's the thing, is it's not like it's releasing against other massive launches. It's not. It's really the only thing that is at the box office that people would want to go and see. It says Black Panther Wakanda Forever will keep its box office crown in its second weekend, towering over new studio releases like The Menu, and she said, I do think The Menu looks good, but again, I don't think that that's a giant draw-in for people. It says Marvel's sequel brought in an additional 17.9 million on its second Friday, down 79% from its opening day figure. Projections for the sophomore outing of Wakanda Forever landed in the 65 million to 70 million range, which would mark a substantial but standard second weekend drop-off. With a 181 million domestic debut, Wakanda Forever landed the second biggest opening of the year, behind only Marvel's own Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So as you can see, it had a 79% drop-off from its opening day figure last week, and that is a massive drop, but this article paints it like it's not that big of a deal, like it's okay, it's pretty standard, when in reality it is not even close to standard. As you can see from this article, Thor: Love and Thunder had suffered one of the MCU's worst box office drops, and it wasn't even close to being 79%. It says Thor: Love and Thunder is inching towards a global $500 million haul at the box office, and keep in mind this was an article from July. It says despite that, the film had suffered one of Marvel's worst second weekend drops. Between its first 2 weekends in theaters, the flick dropped 68%, tying it with both Black Widow and Spider-Man: No Way Home. As far as the numbers go, No Way Home happened to open significantly higher, with just over $100 million extra coming in due to its opening weekend, and then Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, by comparison, had dropped a similar, albeit slightly less number. The picture suffered a 67% drop in the box office receipts earlier this year. Clearly, you can see the media's bias and their fear of cancellation on full display. When Love and Thunder dropped 68% and Multiverse of Madness dropped 67%, the media said it was a problem for Marvel, that these are the worst MCU box office drops, which were true at the time, but now that Black Panther has dropped by 10% more, they're saying it's still doing great, and oh, this is typical for an MCU flick, which it isn't. 10% is a very big deal. We can clearly see they're afraid to say, oh, this movie is a failure, it's doing terribly. Yeah, it is divisive, because they don't want to be branded as racists, and they also don't want to lose the golden seat with Disney that they have, where they get scoops and information early. This movie has caused a lot of controversy. A lot of people have been very upset over the storyline they went with. Unfortunately, Chadwick Boseman's passing did present Marvel and these writers a lot of, hurdles that they had to get over. I understand that, and I do give them credit for, trying to pay their respects in the movie, but the rest of the film just wasn't that great. This movie again, is very divisive on social media. There were people even saying that they should cancel the theater run and basically lock it away and forget the key. People are pretty outraged about this movie, and yes, it is getting good ratings on things like Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, the media is giving it like 98% right now. They're absolutely loving it. They're saying it's one of the best movies ever created, and I have to disagree. But clearly, you can see the different ways that the media have decided to spin these stories that are very similar. But ultimately, this is what happens when companies do not create content for consumers. They're not creating storylines that we're excited for. They're not really doing anything to bring us in, because not only has this had a massive second week drop off, but also there's been this news with the MCU. This came out only a couple of days ago. Almost 40% of Marvel fans are not happy with the MCU and its films like Wakanda Forever that are causing people to say, I'm clocking out for the MCU. I'm not going to see the next movie, or I'm getting bored of all of these films. People are just sick and tired of seeing these movies released where there's not rich character development, there's not great plots. It's really only the MCU at hand. People are sick and tired of these films releasing where there's not rich character development, amazing plots. It's all about, ultimately, what characters you can throw in people's faces that are going to make statements. And in the MCU's case, it's all about the MCU content. I mean, every movie now is about some kind of strong woman outdoing their male counterpart. As you can see, it says according to a new study, nearly 40% of Marvel fans aren't happy with the MCU, as it is reported they are feeling franchise fatigue. I used to love the MCU. I used to get so excited for these new movie releases, but now I just feel like that spark is gone. Unfortunately, a lot of the characters that I really like aren't in it anymore, or, they've gone in really different directions with characters. I miss Iron Man. I miss Captain America. I miss the old Thor. I'm just not entertained by things like She-Hulk and Miss Marvel and the new Black Widow movie. These things are just not entertaining to me, and obviously a lot of other people as well. Like I pointed out, these numbers are still really good for Marvel. They're still making hundreds of millions of dollars with these films. I'm not trying to sit here and say that they are complete failures, because they're still making money from them, and that's all that they really care about. But their second week drop-offs have been massive over the past few theatrical releases, and I just don't see that changing, topped with the fact that people are just getting sick and tired of their storylines and they're feeling fatigued from these Marvel films. I think that they need to cut back on the content they're creating and make really rich, memorable experiences. Maybe one day they will decide to do that. Obviously, that is not today. But as you can see, Black Panther is not doing great its second weekend at the box office. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.